I think from a marketing standpoint, or even just getting into manufacturing as a career, is you got to be confident in your skills and be confident to bring your skills to the table and collaborate with others. You gotta, your biggest challenge is yourself, is what's in your head and what you're telling yourself. And if you can just go in there with some heart, go in there with some interest, go in there with some confidence, and be willing to try things that may be a little out of your skill set or something you're not really comfortable with, you're gonna find yourself succeeding and finding that traction.
Welcome to Industrial Strength Marketing, the show that challenges leaders across the supply chain to make marketing the strength of their business. Hi, my name is James Soto. I'm the industrial marketer best known for founding Industrial, the family of strategic marketing brands trusted by brands around the world. I'm sitting down today with industrial innovators and marketers to talk about their careers, their insights, and marketing that makes an impact. I am very excited, very, very, very excited. And I always say that with every show, to have Shae Eichele with HEH Group. So Shae, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, James. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm geeking out on this show because one of the things that we have here is a focus on women in the marketing and telling the story of manufacturing. So you're both. You have a great story. You're an industrial marketer and you have a passion for the industry. So Shae, I think, gosh, we had such a great conversation before, but if you're listening in the audience right now, and if you're an aspiring marketer, I think one of the things you need to know that marketers, a weird thing, women in agencies are actually the majority. There's actually more women in marketing in agencies than there are men. And we also see that as well here. So we're really interested to hear your story. And I think folks will get some inspiration for it. So Shae, would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and also HEH Group?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the introduction and having me on. So my name is Shae Eichele. I'm 23 years old. I'm the marketing coordinator for the HEH Group. We are a family of 4 companies that includes Ultratech, Advanced Spindle Technology, Mach & Eichele, and Kratz & Saunders. Within that group, Kratz & Saunders and Mach & Eichele are our distributorships. So Mach & Eichele is in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Kratz & Saunders is in Winston-Salem. Then we have Ultratech. We do a lot of building here, custom equipment, automation, integrating cobots, anything along those lines. They don't really stop at anything. They're super talented guys. And then we have Advanced Spindle Technology, which is our spindle repair company. And that has 2 locations as well, one up here in Ohio in Cuyahoga Falls and the other down south in Winston-Salem. So that's what we do here at the HEH Group. And myself, my marketing manager, Scott Mazon, and then our guy that handles all the behind the scenes video stuff, Dylan Bowe, we work together to handle the marketing for all 4 of the companies.
Oh my goodness. So that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a lot to cover as an industrial marketer.
It is. It's since taking on the Mazak brand on the distributor side, things have been a lot more streamlined because there was a point where Mach & Eichele and Kratz & Saunders had very different lines. So not only were we marketing for 2 different companies, but also marketing for a variety of different lines. So taking on the Mazak brand on June of 2022 has kind of streamlined some of that process. So it made it a little bit easier between the distributorships.
Okay, so we need to still have a celebration about that. That is huge news.
Yes.
That is massive. Congratulations. I know
Thank you.
A ton of hard work from everyone, and to have such a great trust from a great brand is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Mazak is world class. You know, they've been so fantastic to work with and everything that they've done for us. And the partnership is really great. And we're excited for a very fruitful future with them.
Okay, so your 1 year anniversary is going to be coming up before you know it. So
yeah, we're going to have to celebrate that.
Oh, okay. Well, just kind of inviting myself to a party right now. So.
Yeah. Hey, you don't even need an invite. It's an open invite. You ready to celebrate? You're in.
Oh my goodness, that's going to be a great milestone. I'm really excited about that. And so let's talk a little bit about you and your journey. One of the things we like to say here is that we were born industrial and certainly raised digital. So I came from a manufacturing family, worked my way through college on the plant floor, and and then you kind of come of age, at some point you get introduced to the industry. So I think that'd be really great to get your story. So that context of your journey to becoming, someone who's really making waves in manufacturing and someone who's in the marketing of manufacturing really more relevant. So everybody listen in, because I think this is a great story. You are not going to want to miss it. So tell us a little bit about, what it was like growing up, coming into this industrial family, this manufacturing family, and really those moments in your journey along the way.
Yeah, sure. So, my great grandpa, he worked at Cleveland Twist and Drill, way, way back when, on the floor. And then my grandpa, he worked at Mach and Merriweather, which is a pretty known, distributorship. And then him and his partner, Eddie Mach, they started Mach and Eichele in 1985. Once my dad got out of high school, Willie Eichele, he joined Mach and Eichele as a sales guy. He went and did his hydromat apprenticeship program, all of that. So by the time, as soon as I could remember anything about manufacturing, everyone in my family was talking about it, whether we were at the dinner table, lunch, anything. My dad was a big driver of that. I do have three sisters. I'm the fourth one. And so I was kind of the boy of the family, always a tomboy, hung around my dad a lot. He's probably someone I'll talk about in this interview a lot. He's a huge inspiration for me. And it was his knowledge to say, hey, Shae, why don't you consider manufacturing? Because for me, I wanted to be a lawyer my whole life. I'm being a lawyer. No one's stopping me at this. I did my associate's degree in high school so I could graduate law school earlier than the normal time frame. Went to college, did that, and then he had let me know that they were looking for someone to work with social media and things like that. So I came in, I talked with Scott Mazon, again, that's our marketing manager, who really just brought me under his wing and taught me so much of what I know and kind of honed in on the skills that I'm good at and helped me grow. But growing up, overall in an industrial family it's something that you take pride in. It's not like, it's great for anyone just to get into manufacturing, but having the history, kind of the passion and the history and hearing about it, and now kind of following in my dad's footsteps as much as I can has been a really great journey for me.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm not going to let you off that easy on this story.
All right.
Because I was inspired last week during our conversation, and you said your dad, there was a moment where he shared something about his philosophy, about really wanting, very ambitious. You remember I think you said something. What was that he said? Do you remember?
Yeah, of course I do. So when I was 10 years old, I remember my dad just always telling me that you have to always want more. And him and I just have this thing where it's always the next thing. You're always moving on to the next thing. You get something, you're never satisfied, and you keep going. And that's what drives that motivation. No matter how many times you get set back, no matter how bad the setback is, you can always recover. And he just pounded that into my head, and I can't be more thankful than that, because that insight, that mentality that I have of never being satisfied is what drives me every day. I wake up, I'm excited about things that I'm doing, I'm over it, I'm on to the next thing. And that has not only helped with the good times, but also the bad times, just trying to get past, challenges that I've had in my life. But yeah, my dad has been a real inspiration and a real contributor to the way that I walk and talk and think. And so I appreciate him a lot, but never being satisfied with anything that you do. That's been a big thing for us.
Oh, for sure. And you said never be satisfied. I want more. And, that's almost a principle of Kaizen, continuous improvement, change for the better. Mm-hmm. And that is a big manufacturing, principle and philosophy and methodology. And it's really important. And, you struck me as someone that was pretty ambitious yourself. So as you came up, to the formative years and through high school, what were some of those, and this is lean in everybody here, because I think this is a really interesting journey you had in terms of what you thought your ambitions were for you, what you were doing that you were passionate about, and what were maybe some of the, maybe that belly of the whale moment you had that, what were those belly of the whale moments that were really formative in your journey?
Yeah. So like I said before, growing up, I wanted to be an attorney. My mind was so set on that. I worked at a criminal defense firm for quite some time, like 16 till I was about 20. But the thing that changed my life, and will stay with me forever, is in January of 2018, I had a really bad cheerleading injury. From that, I had two major reconstructive surgeries to fix the injury. After that, I was on a scooter. I couldn't walk. I was, every doctor told me, you're not going to be able to work out. You're not going to be able to go to work. You're not going to be able to sit there with your leg down. You're not even going to be able to, shower like a normal person, get in the car like a normal person, all these things. And with that, I was also having these other treatments, to try and reduce pain and just live a somewhat of a normal life. And every time I try to go take the LSAT, which is the exam that you have to take to get into law school, of course, this is after I graduated college. Well, the injury was in 2018. And then once I was taking the LSAT was, in my senior year of college. And as I was graduating, something would come up. I'd have to have another surgery. I'd have to go to the hospital because of some pain management situation. There was always something that was in my way of taking the LSAT. And my dad, that's when, he said to me, what about manufacturing? And it's funny because growing up in an industrial family, I never really considered manufacturing. I always had an interest in it. I talked to my dad about the job all day, every day, and how his day went and what kind of machines are they selling and this and that. But I never thought of it as a path for me until he said it. And then once he said it, I was like, it's different. But okay. So that's when I went and, resumed, I talked with Scott, and he kind of gave me the rundown of what we do here. And I was super interested, but it wasn't until that injury that opened the door for me to say, hey, why don't I take a leap of faith into this? And with that injury, that's kind of where all that motivation comes from, because there's so much that I've been told you can't do. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I swear my goal is like, well, I'll show you that I can, because I will. That's kind of been playing off. Also, my dad growing up and telling me those things that kind of have got me here where I am today, and still, struggling with all those things and the surgeries and things like that. It'll be a lifelong thing, but it's not something that's going to define me or, interrupt my goals. It's going to be something that I succeed past and be able to look past and say, you know what, I did that, and now I'm here, and everybody else can too.
Well, life is, we have those belly of the whale moments.
Yeah.
And, it gets deep, it gets dark. And then, kind of like Jonah and the whale, we can kind of get blown out of the blowhole and, make it through. Yeah. I say in business and in marketing, get ready. Every year you will have a belly of the whale moment. But that was a major life belly of the whale moment. And I found it really inspiring. So as you, as a marketer, if you're someone out there that's really looking at your career, what's now, what's next, how many things are coming at you, just like you said, Shae, that it's saying, I can't. And what was really inspiring is you're saying, wow, now watch me. Yeah. Watch me do that. Because, I think when you mentioned to me your college journey, you're pretty acceleratedly ambitious there. So how old were you? Like, what was your path? Didn't you skip it? Like, what happened? What did that timeline actually look like chronologically?
Okay. So I'm always going to the next step. I want to accelerate, get to the next step. I want to get to the next thing. I'm very goal driven and motivatedly driven. So in high school, I was like, they started offering this College Credit Plus program, which is a lot more popular now than when I was in high school. So this was in 2016 for me. I totally went college full time my junior and senior year so I could finish my associate's degree in high school. So then once I graduated high school, I had my associate's degree and my diploma. I went off to Cleveland State, and there they were able to accept all my credits. A lot more schools accept these credits now, which I wish that would have been when I, was going, but that's okay. So I went to Cleveland State, and then I finished up my bachelor's in 2 years there, and I graduated with my bachelor's degree just after I turned 20. And then so that was in 2019, and then I started here at the HEH Group in 2020. So there was about a year there that I was trying to take the LSAT. I was working in a contracting law firm, and all those surgeries and those challenges were just getting tougher and tougher, and the LSAT was not coming around. And that's when we started really talking about me getting into manufacturing. So
Well,
that was the timeline.
that's amazing. Here we're like talking about marketing, right? But life is so important as part of these journeys because we bring all of these things to manufacturing, to marketing. And I just have to say, Shae, that whole journey, this industrial strength that you have is just really inspirational. And when you think about now, coming in, graduating college at, 20, and dealing with all of those challenges that you've had, as you've entered HEH, group in 2018, how did you feel coming in at that time, into the business as a marketer? Were there any kind of moments of doubts or anything of that nature? Like, where were you? Because starting a career is challenging, especially in a family business too, given all the expectations. But like, where were you? Because I think we, as wherever we come from, whatever walk of life we are, those first kind of career moves are really, really, notable in terms of their, not only, just opportunity, but the emotional impact.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started the HEH group in September 14th of 2020. Going into it, this whole injury thing and kind of getting over that, not necessarily getting over it, but accepting it and taking on the challenge, I thought there is nothing that's going to be more difficult than that. That was the hardest thing in my life. So to me, manufacturing, like you said, it's a career. What we can make here in manufacturing is a job, is a career, not a job, right? So kind of coming in, I was a little bit nervous. I also don't have, like, my bachelor's degree is not in marketing. So I was a little nervous coming in just about, what am I going to know? What am I not going to know? How are people going to respond to me not having a background in manufacturing? Not manufacturing, in marketing. And so Scott Mazon has been another huge part of, what I do and how I've evolved into who I am as a marketer. He really took me under his wing and just taught me, anything from the simplest, email blasts and SEO and advertising, and just social media has been something obviously that we honed in on a lot. But, he definitely has helped me mold my craft with marketing. And yeah, so hopefully that kind of gives you the idea of how it was like when it started. Definitely a little nerve-wracking, but again, it was that never being satisfied, always working hard, and just knowing that I will never face anything likely more challenging. I'm sure at some point in my life I will, than what I have and am still overcoming. Kind of just gave me that confidence to take the leap of faith.
And you told me a little bit of like a story of like your first video you made. Like, was that a moment?
Oh, yeah. Because Scott was like, hey, one of our goals this year is, we really want you to get on the camera. And I don't mind being on camera. I grew up in gymnastics and competitive cheerleading my whole life. It's lights, cameras, action, it's all that stuff. So I'm like, yeah, no problem. For sure, I'm into that. So we get like a ring light for me to do the videos in my office, which is what mostly everybody sees on LinkedIn, like on our company pages and stuff. And I remember it was like 1:00 in the afternoon, and I don't do teleprompters or anything like that. I write all my stuff. I will memorize it, and then I'll say it back to the camera. So I wrote this script. I mean, it was not even a paragraph. It could have been 5 sentences maybe. And I was getting so mad. This guy Joe, the guy next to me in the office, he was probably really getting upset with me because I would mess up. I'd be like, darn it. And then I'm like, you know what? Take a deep breath. Remember the words. Think about the words one by one and just be you. And I did that, and that worked. And then after that, I'm like, I think I got it. I'm in my groove now. And then now, I will memorize 2 pages of text and I'll say it back to the camera. And some days are worse than others, but, maybe 2 or 3 shots or 2 or 3 takes. So yeah, that was a moment where I was like, I got this. I like this. Be me. Stop trying to be somebody else. Stop trying to put on something else in front of the camera. Because when you're trying to not be yourself and you're trying to recite words, you can't do it. So that was a big moment for me where I'm like, I can do it. This is something that I really like.
So, like to love industrial marketing is on that note. Let's talk a little bit about the fun. Tell me about that Valentine's Day video that you
Oh
posted.
yeah.
What's the
Everyone loves the Valentine's Day video. So at the beginning of the show, I mentioned our guy that does a lot of our video editing, Dylan Bowe. Him and I will sit down and we'll have like a 30-minute brainstorm about holidays. Like, okay, we're gonna start this thing where every holiday we have some sort of fun, entertaining video because marketing is awesome. I love it, but sometimes you need a little fun in there. Little fun on your timeline, on your LinkedIn, YouTube, something to make you smile. So let's break up the seriousness. And the first one we actually did was a Christmas video. Christmas of 2021, I believe. We did this video where the cobot was decorating the tree. Then fast forward to Valentine's Day, we're like, all right, we gotta make this kind of funny. So we're sitting here brainstorming, and he's like, well, we'll just have the cobot like reject me, and we're like, yeah, then we'll add a tissue in there to make it look like you're crying, and let's go get an oversized card to give to me. It kind of just blew up into this thing, and our robot guys are very patient with the marketing team. Thankful for them, and so yeah, that was a really really fun video, and I think as a marketer, bringing a smile to somebody's day, leaving a mark on somebody's day, whether it's a laugh or something informative, that's really what I'm all about. I want to leave somebody with a mark that they remember. Again, whether it's a laugh like the Valentine's Day video, or it's something a little more serious like something a Mazak video or something like that. But
Yeah, so we tried to connect around IMTS, and we were both like all out everywhere. You were all over IMTS, and I think that's where we first saw you out there. We were, producing the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge. And fast forward Valentine's Day, I was posted a Valentine's Day video. And then I see yours pop up, and it looked like you were on a date with the robot, So I was like, and like you were like, I think it was a card, and it was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, okay, I'm calling Shae. We gotta talk. We'd love.
oh
to.
my gosh, wait, so are you talking about this most recent Valentine? Have you not seen the
Yes.
first Valentine's Day video?
No, I saw
Oh my goodness.
Okay. All right, we got to see it.
Good. The most recent Valentine's Day video is good, but for you and to anyone that's listening, go on our YouTube page, the HEH Group, go to the holiday videos and find the one of the cobot giving us the card. It's probably the only Valentine's Day video on there. It's hilarious. Yeah. I laugh at my own stuff. That's, whatever it is, what it is, but I was dying at this video.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see it. I saw the one. It was you're more like at a Valentine's dinner kind of situation. Yes. And so it was funny. So I was like, okay, that's a check. We gotta, that would be a good conversation to have.
We need to talk to this girl. She's going on dates with cobots. Yeah.
So, so a lot of folks think a lot of social media marketing, videos, things like that, is an intangible. Traditional industrial leaders, they've had to weather a lot of generational change, how we communicate social media. And, when you think of the things that you've been doing, especially on video and content there, where are the areas you feel that you've made an impact as a marketer?
Sure. So I think one of kind of my mottos is, and kind of what we hear at the company is, if our competitors are in that space, we need to be in that space. Whether it's early on or a little late to the party, or usually it's not late to the party, and that was the one thing with video, is that was something we wanted to start. That was starting. Social media was starting. There was just a few people that you were kind of seeing blowing up on LinkedIn and things like that. And we saw some of our competitors starting to kind of drip in that space, and we wanted to be there. So I believe personally, on the personal side, I think I bring just a different, kind of tempo to LinkedIn in terms of, being there, there's a lot of great women in the industry, but being a woman in the industry, trying to give out informational content, that's something that Scott and I talked about at the beginning, that really bringing short videos that whoever's watching can walk away and say, oh, that's something I didn't know before. That's where we wanted to make a difference. And that's all the feedback that I've been getting. People will send me messages and say, hey, I really like that video you did on the Mazak Syncrex at IMTS. I didn't even know that they made this product. Can you give me some more information? Same thing, on the metrology side. We are really just trying to inform people, and I think that's something that we have made a difference doing, and it's a different face from coming from a female and being educated and doing my research to really educate people on what all the technology in that industry. And so I think that's really where we have our niche is there for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you've been out there and really representing all your brands well. And, as someone that's a channel partner, as a distributor, provides application engineering support. And, it's such a critical relationship between, a brand, a supplier, and its partners. How is that, relationship developed in terms of, the aspects of the marketing you do and what's that feedback and input loop? Any signals you're getting back and forth between the brands you work and represent?
Yeah, so on the Mach and Eichele side, we have, Mazak is one of our, that's our big brand. We also sell Hydromat, their rotary transfer machine, OGP on the metrology side, Ames metrology. That's just to name a few. We also rebuild our own CMMs and sell them to customers. So we get a lot of good positive feedback from our OEMs. They really appreciate, what we're doing, trying to get information out there. They support it. They will go on, like, comment, and share. It's kind of opened up some doors, at IMTS. They're like, oh, we want you guys to come in the booth and do a video and things like that. So they really like that partnership. And I think it's another way to show an OEM that you are out there trying to do what they want you to do and trying to just get their brand out there and give them that recognition. And I think that they really appreciate that. And they have, in return, definitely given that positive feedback. On the Kratz and Saunders side, it's very similar, but we do have Mitsubishi EDM. They have been a great supporter in all of our social media content. We've gone down there. We've done plenty of video shoots and things like that. And they really enjoy the things that we do on the marketing side, and they really see it as an asset. So it's good to hear, because sometimes in manufacturing, you'll hear people, yay for social media or nay for social media. So we've been lucky that our partners have encouraged it and found it as an asset to the partnership.
Yeah, that's huge, because that's the whole basis of the relationship. You're that partner, and for them to see and bring you into their world. It was great seeing you at IMTS. You were everywhere. So if anybody's listening in, you'll see on YouTube and LinkedIn, Shae was like covering the floor at IMTS 2022.
Yes.
So
I should touch on that. So IMTS 2022, the HEH Group would have some sort of booth there, but we decided just to put all of our efforts into our OEMs this year. And so Scott and I were like, what's something that we can do? Let's just go down there, shoot some videos. We'll send out some invites to our OEMs and see if they even want to have us in. They're probably super busy. So we're like, we'll just go for a half a day on Tuesday, a full day Wednesday, and a half day Thursday. So in total, 2 full days. And all of a sudden, before we know it, all of our OEMs said yes. We had like 12, 15 videos. And then people were seeing us, like Fanuc, they saw us doing videos and asked us to come in the booth. And so we had multiple of those. So we ended up doing, I believe, 17 videos. We shot, edited, and produced all of them within 2 days. And every minute of every day was planned. And then, everyone has the events at night. So by the time we get back to the hotel, it's like 11 midnight, and Scott and I are like just trying to get this video out to go in the morning. So that was also a big point, even though that was more recent in my career, that it was like, I love this. This is like, first of all, just being able to see this technology is incredible, and what we're doing as a manufacturing industry. But being on the fly, and Scott and I just like having fun and being having success at what we're doing was such a reward for me. That was a really, really great moment for not only myself, but the HEH marketing team as well. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it makes me so happy, but it makes me so sad, because you didn't make it out to our takeover of Giordano's, Chicago style pizza.
No, that's Scott's favorite pizza, so he was upset too.
Yeah, so we'll hopefully, we'll see if we're going to do that again in 2024, but hopefully we'll connect there. And as we think about those those aspiring industrial marketers and leaders in manufacturing, certainly women in manufacturing as well. What advice would you give, folks really who are considering or in the midst of their journey as an industrial marketer?
I think from a marketing standpoint, or even just getting into manufacturing as a career, is you got to be confident in your skills and be confident to bring your skills to the table and collaborate with others. Your biggest challenge is yourself, is what's in your head and what you're telling yourself. And if you can just go in there with some heart, go in there with some interest, go in there with some confidence, and be willing to try things that may be a little out of your skill set or something you're not really comfortable with, you're gonna find yourself succeeding and finding that traction. So I think, from a woman's standpoint, I want every woman and girl to be in the industry and see the really cool things that we do and have a passion for showing people what they do through their marketing talents. But really just the biggest thing is have confidence in yourself, be interested, have motivation, ask the right questions, connect with the right people. And those are some of the major things that I've done that I can say that has really helped kind of push my career in the direction that it is.
Yep. No, that's fantastic. And, I think one of the things we observed just when the world started opening up again, we were amazed by how you can noticeably see from 2018 at an IMTS to 2024, like how many more women in manufacturing were there and present and elevated in industry. And it was just such a great thing. And I think to the extent that people were very open to that networking, to connecting, to doing those things, getting out there, literally on the floor, it was great. I don't know if you know this, as you were coming by the Mazak booth in the Creators Lounge, I was like, you were filming. It's like, oh, I can't talk to her. You were crushing. You were crushing the content there, for sure.
You were on the move.
So as you really think about that, and as you think about your journey now, what are your areas of passion and purpose in manufacturing or as a marketer?
Yeah, so in manufacturing, my passion is to really be able to have a broad and be a well-rounded person in manufacturing. My passion is helping our sales guys get information to their customers. My passion is being on the floor and explaining the technology to people, whether it's people that already know or it's somebody that's new. It's being on video. It's being a face that is positive in manufacturing. That's really, really big for me. And kind of carrying on that family history is also a big passion of mine. That's something I really care about. Definitely know where I came from and definitely want to keep that going. On the marketing side, I just really love being on camera. I love talking with people. And again, the technology in the industry is just so advanced and so unique that showing it off is like the most rewarding thing for me. So video is definitely one of my biggest passions, in the industry.
Oh my gosh, you're doing great. It's so fun to see. Now, what about you in terms of like your aspirations for the type of content that you want to create? We believe that creators of original manufacturing content, should tell their story, and that there's this great platform for them to do that, across all the owned, earned, paid, and social media channels. What are you thinking about as that step in your journey as a creator? What are the things that you'd like to start thinking about doing and launching moving forward?
Sure. So outside of here at the HEH Group, and this is the first time I'm going to be talking about this, so
exclusive.
Listen
in, y'all. Yeah. Listen in. So one of the things I'm going to be launching this year, I'm hoping end of third quarter, maybe middle of third quarter, is a YouTube channel called Manufacturing Muscle. My goal in manufacturing is to just move the needle in a positive direction. Our biggest challenge here in manufacturing is perception when it comes to hiring. That's our biggest competitor. It's not like obviously there's other fields, but the thing that people can't get past is the perception and the exposure. And that's really what it is. So again, my goal is with Manufacturing Muscle is we're going to be shooting a ton of content and sitting down and really getting the stories of women and men about
what their journey is, talking about their challenges, getting to where they are today, talking about their successes, and really educating young people and parents about what manufacturing is now and what it isn't, and showing them that this industry is designed for advancement. You may start painting the floors at a facility and then end up as a general manager somewhere. It's, you're not staying the same job forever, and that's just really exciting, and that's some news that I really want to spread, and that's my goal. So I have a list of interviews. All this planning is going on kind of behind the scenes, but that's something I'm really, really excited about. And I'm going to be, Scott Mazon and I are going to be at a school, my alma mater, next week, talking to high school students, I think maybe 4 classes, about manufacturing and what we do and what they can do, and really educating them on, hey, this is how much college costs, and this is this, and this is that, and really being real with them and getting that perspective that maybe their parents or their teachers or their friends are not getting. So that was kind of 2 things in one, but manufacturing muscle, keep it out, remember it, write it down. That's going to be something I'm going to start pushing here, hopefully in May, June, and start shooting in July.
Okay, I don't give this compliment to everyone, but you, Shae, are industrial strength. I mean, for sure. I'm so excited for that show. And, I don't know if you know this, we were the ones around building the Manufacturing Day brand, around changing perceptions of manufacturing careers for students, for counselors and parents. And so we just can't do enough work in the area of trying to change perceptions. But I also think there's an opportunity to create perceptions, because we kind of think of what we thought growing up about it. It's so different now. Like do they really have a perception? And can we introduce them into this and, be first to that message, right?
Right. And perception and exposure, I think, go hand in hand. I tell this story a lot, but when, I coach gymnastics and cheerleading, and I coached in the high school for a pretty long time, and I sat through countless senior nights. And the kid would walk across the field, they announce their favorite teacher, and then they'd say, I'm undecided going into college. Undecided, spending a lot of money. Whew. That's obviously people do it. It's great. Everyone finds their path. Or they'd walk across the field and say, I'm going to be a cosmetologist. Walk across the field, I'm going to be an x-ray technician. And all those are great careers. But the point is, I never heard someone walk across the field and say, I want to be a quality inspector. I want to sell machine tools. I want to market in manufacturing. I want to be a project manager in manufacturing. You don't hear any of that. And, when I talk to my dad and I talk to my grandpa, they just talk about how, well, it probably comes from when our parents were in the industry. They would come home and they would be oily and greasy and filthy. And they're like, oh, well, I don't want to get into that. And then their kid grows up and, oh, well, your great grandpa did that, and it was this and it was that. And it's kind of come to a point where no one's even talking about it. So it's not even like they're getting their perception out there. It's just that it's not even being talked about. And in the right spaces, kids are on YouTube, they're on Instagram. They obviously go to school. So doing things that I and Scott and the HEH Group and separately Manufacturing Muscle can do to engage the kids directly, where we know that they're getting that message, that's what we're trying. That's what we're after.
Absolutely. And it has to happen early.
Yes.
And what's exciting about it is I'm seeing things like, in Western Michigan, how there's even varsity level first robotics competitions. And think about that, like having a varsity sport in manufacturing around robotics.
That is very cool.
So that starts to change the whole dynamic of how do we really think about even the high school experience. And, so we were at a MFG champs event of creators and influencers a few weeks back, and there we were just going into everything going on in Saugatuck in Western Michigan, and just to learn that at some level that's such an important part of some communities. I think there's just so much opportunity if we just imagine it and we start moving purposely towards things that can change the status quo. So on that note, this has been fantastic. How can folks find out more about you, Shae, and HEH Group?
So myself personally, I do have a personal LinkedIn, Shae Eichele. Follow me, connect with me, send me a message. I love talking with people on LinkedIn and getting to know them. I also have an Instagram. It's Shop Floor Shae. I love that. that whole thing about that. That's relatively new, but follow me on there, connect with me. The content is different from what's on LinkedIn, so you can expect to see, some different stuff. The HEH Group, you can visit us at our website, www.thehehgroup.com. Our website's great. You can learn all about, what we do. Our YouTube channel is the HEH Group as well. So yeah, we're also going to be at PMTS coming up here in April. We'll be at Automate this year. Ultra Tech will be. And then we'll also be at South Tech as well.
Wow. Industrial strength shop floor girl, Shae Eichele. You've been bringing it. I am so excited for you, your journey. You shared one last thing, and I know I'm getting really personal, but I just think there's so many folks that are really, that's the truth. People are really, are really motivated by our stories. But you also said you wanted to have some personal goals, like in terms of like just for you and a little bit of fitness, a little bit of competition. Like what? Come on, you're a competitor. What's next for Shae? And then we'll wrap up.
No, you're good. Oh, actually, one last thing I did want to add about where to find us as well. We're having a really big, we're calling it our Pigskin Kickoff. It's an open house for us. It's going to be in August. So if you guys are listening and you're in the Ohio area, look out for that because we want to invite you guys into our facility for a 2-day super fun event, giveaway prizes and all that stuff. So look out for that. That's one other thing I did want to add on that side.
Oh my goodness. You guys are crushing it. So
we're trying.
That is great. And we'll put all these things in the show notes for you all to check out. So how about you? You're also setting some personal goals moving forward outside of manufacturing.
Yep. So back to that. I am very into working out. So with the injury, doctors told me I'd never be able to work out. I wouldn't be able to do a quad extension or stand to do shoulder flies or nothing like that. But coming from a really competitive background with gymnastics and cheerleading, when that fell out and I had nothing, working out was the only thing I could do. I could teach myself to do. So I tell everybody my life is manufacturing, working out, and my dogs. That's pretty much it. So with the I'm planning to compete hopefully in October of this year in a bodybuilding show, which is really exciting for me. I had one surgery where I have these, wires in my back and this battery pack. It's crazy. That's probably a whole nother podcast that we could talk about. But that's been a really, really big challenge. I've been trying to compete, the last 2 or 3 years, but I haven't been pain-free enough to be able to give that effort on the workout side to be able to do that. But with this battery pack, and it interrupts the signals where I'm able to train and walk with, the pain is a lot better now. I can really put forth towards my efforts of growing and building muscle and getting on that stage. So that's a huge goal for mine this year is to compete in bodybuilding, hopefully October. So,
well, the journey, no matter how it turns out, it's all about the journey, right? Yeah. And definitely share that. I think we're all rooting for you.
Thank you.
Shae, I got to tell you, I know there's a lot of folks out there in manufacturing and certainly aspiring industrial marketers who are inspired. So if you're out there and someone says you can't, just like Shae, right? Yeah, just watch her, just watch you. So on that note, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, Shae. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Thank you so much for making time in your day to listen to the Industrial Strength Marketing Show. I just hope you heard one thing from Shae, just one golden nugget that inspires you to make marketing even more a strength of your business. Shae has a great story, and we know you have one as well. And we really want to get to know you. So for more insights from industrial marketers like Shae, or if you just want to reach out to us, visit industrialstrengthmarketing.com. We'll catch you next time.